Story 1. The Man Beside the Highway. The rain had been coming down for hours, thick, unrelenting, and cold. Asha's car sliced through the downpour, wipers struggling to keep up as she drove along the empty stretch of National Highway 9, somewhere between Aurangabad and Pune. Her phone had no signal. The radio hissed, and she was down to her last quarter tank of fuel. She had left the city after a late work meeting against her better judgment. The office had been emptying when her boss said, "Just stay the night." But she refused. She hated the fluorescent lights and cold rooms. She wanted to go home. She wanted her own bed. Now there was only blackness on either side, the kind of rural darkness that felt like a vacuum. Then he saw him, a man on the side of the road, drenched, holding his thumb up. He was tall, wearing a dark raincoat. The beam of her headlights caught his face for a split second, pale, expressionless, his eyes reflecting white. Asha slowed, then hesitated. Every instinct said no, but her car was already coasting. She rolled down the window just a little. "Need help?" she shouted. The man stepped closer. "My bike broke down. Can you drop me to the nearest petrol station?" He sounded calm, too calm. His voice had no tremor, no cold in it, as if the rain didn't touch him. Asha hesitated, then unlocked the passenger door. He got in silently. No small talk, no thanks, just the wet boots squeaking faintly. "Wet too?" she asked. He turned his head towards her, eyes steady. "Straight. I'll tell you when to stop." Something about the way he said it made her skin crawl. For the next 10 minutes they drove in silence. The rain got heavier. Asha tried to focus on the road. Her phone buzzed faintly. No network. She glanced sideways once. The man's head was turned slightly toward her. He was smiling, just barely. Her heart skipped. "You okay?" He didn't reply, just stared ahead again. She noticed something, a streak of mud on his sleeve. No, not mud. It was darker, red black, blood. Her throat went dry. She forced her voice steady. "Are you hurt?" He looked down at her sleeve as if noticing it for the first time. Then, still smiling faintly, said, "No, not mine." Asha's hand tightened on the steering wheel. "What?" "Not my blood," he said again. "You passed the place, maybe 2 kilometers back." Her eyes darted to the rearview mirror. All she saw was rain. The man leaned slightly closer. His breath smelled metallic. "You shouldn't have stopped." Asha's pulse roared in his ears. She spotted a dim yellow glow ahead, a roadside dhaba, closed but with one bulb still on. She slammed on the brake, stopping hard. "Get out!" she snapped. The man tilted his head. "I told you I'd say when to stop." Asha grabbed her pepper spray from her bag. "Out!" He smiled again, wider this time, showing teeth that were too straight, too even. He reached slowly into his coat. Asha panicked. She kicked the door open and began to run into the rain. The dhaba looked deserted, chairs overturned, no light except the buzzing bulb. She turned to look back. The car door was open, but the man wasn't there. Asha's breath caught. She turned towards the dhaba and saw him standing under the single bulb, just a few feet away, perfectly dry despite the rain. He whispered, almost gently, "You shouldn't have stopped." When a scream cut through the storm, no one heard. By morning, the car was found idling by the highway, doors open, headlights still on. There was no sign of Asha, only two sets of footprints in the mud, one leading to the forest, the other, much deeper, leading out of Block 19. It was supposed to be a peaceful neighborhood, white, middle class, a short walk from the metro station, Block 19, Greenview Apartments, Gurgaon. Then people started disappearing. The first was a delivery boy. His bike was found near the gate, engine still running. 2 weeks later, an elderly man from the third floor. Then a school teacher. At first, everyone blamed the lack of security cameras. Then, when the police began door to door inquiries, every resident started to suspect the other. Among them was Anuj Sharma, a freelance web designer, 32, living alone. He was the kind of white neighbor everyone liked but knew nothing about. He worked late nights, often ordering food past midnight. Sometimes residents heard the soft hum of a grinder from his flat. He said he was 3D printing models. Nobody questioned it until Ritu, a tenant from the opposite flat, smelled something. A sweet, sticky smell that seemed to seep through the corridor. It was faint at first, like rotting fruit. Then it grew stronger, thicker, until the entire floor reeked of decay. The building manager knocked on Anuj's door. No answer. The police arrived later and forced it open. Inside, everything was spotless. A neatly arranged desk, books stacked by subject, fridge humming quietly. Only one thing was off: the freezer. It was sealed with duct tape. When they cut it open, the stench hit like a wall. Inside were dozens of neatly packed plastic bags, each labeled with dates. When the forensic team unwrapped the first, it contained a human hand, the nails trimmed, the wrist bound tightly with the cord. But Anuj wasn't there. He had vanished. Then a manhunt began. Posters, CCTV footage, anonymous tips. Weeks later, a taxi driver came forward. He had dropped a man resembling Anuj off near an old slaughterhouse outside the city. When the police raided it, they found something unimaginable. The old abattoir was converted into a chilling workspace. Hooks still hung from the ceiling, rusted and dripping. Tables with surgical precision tools, and in the center, a wall covered with Polaroids. Every missing person was there, smiling, alive before they disappeared in the photos. A note beneath them read, "Perfection requires practice." No one has ever caught Anuj till now, but sometimes, late at night, residents of Block 19, Gurgaon, still hear a faint humming sound in that empty flat, like a grinder.